Chicago, where the fire serve cold, but the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the True Chicago Sports Fan Cave, this is the TCSF Podcast with your hosts, E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
Episode 27 is brought to you by Noir Caesar, Villain Radio Studios, and Grit Clothing Company.
And also a brand new sponsor this week. It's us, y'all, 606 Media.
Yes, sir. As always, I'm Big-Z, and I'm here with E-Roc. What up, B?
What's good, Z? We got another Bears game behind us. Well, it's over.
It's the last one.
It's over, baby. No more Bears games. I think this one kind of went the way we expected, though.
We expected a blowout at some point, but at the same time, the Bears just didn't put up a fight.
No, they didn't. To help us talk about this Bears game, we have our brand new member of our True Chicago Sports Fan family. This is our boy, Gigantor. What up?
Yo, what up, Chicago?
Oh.
There we go.
Y'all should be scared.
The
family's growing, brother.
Yeah, you know it, man. That's what it's all about. We're gonna turn from a media to a mafia, bro. Uh-oh. Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting way to start off the year with a Bears loss. We kind of figured that was going to happen. There's going to be a lot of things going on. But today we do have an action-packed show. Lots of Chicago sports to talk about in our Loop segment. And as always, in our 3 and Out segment, we break down the Bears game against the Saints with our boy, Il Brown.
That's right. I can't wait to talk to Il Brown about this Bears. He's going to rant. He's going to go off. And to be honest with you, it's like we have to put this horse to bed.
You can't blame him?
No, I mean...
You can't blame him?
No, I can't blame him. I mean, he's been in the trenches himself, so I understand his frustration. But at the same time, we knew this was going to happen.
I feel like today we're going to talk less about what happened in today's game because it was so expected and what we think the Bears are going to do in the future.
Correct. Oh, man. But first, this is The Loop, our Chicago Sports Roundup, where we keep you in the loop.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
So, E, what's going down on the north side of town?
Man, Schwarber found a new home. Washington Nationals picked up Kyle Schwarber for a 1-year contract worth $10 million.
This is very unexpected. This man got cut from the Cubs, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, essentially got cut, right? For $8 million.
Uh-huh.
The Cubs wouldn't sign this man for This guy hits 30 home runs a year. What are the Cubs doing?
Trying to save money where they don't really need to.
Jesus, $8 million.
Yeah, and then he ends up getting 10.
And this, I mean, I'm not mad. Hey, Schwarb, get your money. I'm not mad at Schwarb at all. Schwarb's a cool guy. He's one of my favorite from the Cubs. Yes, the Sox fan said that. He's a bomber.
And I bet you would have loved to have him as a DH, like I said before.
I've been saying this for weeks, man. I would wish we had him. I wish we had him. But let's just put it this way. The Cubs would have spent $8 million, and the Nationals are like, wait a second. He cleared waivers, and now we're paying him $10 million. You wasted $2 million for no reason.
That's true, too. But you don't know what other teams were willing to pay him either. You know, he could have been the high bid. If the
Yankees were talking with him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the Yankees were because the Yankees talked to everyone. The Yankees talked to my daughter last week.
For real?
Yeah, they loved it. They talk to everybody. There's nobody that goes by. They're like, hey, Yankees, hey, psst, hey. It's like the Watergate where they're in the parking garage, like hiding behind a pillar. Hey, psst, hey. That's how the Yankees move, bro. But listen, you guys took our boy Len Casper. So guess what we did?
You got one of the
best
baseball callers out there.
Best.
Boog
Sciambi, baby. Sciambi.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna cheers this to you guys.
I love that.
Because that is a great hire.
It was a fantastic hire. I mean, you got a nationally recognized guy that is known all over the place. He has a great voice, and he's a lot of great baseball knowledge. And Marquis completely and totally hit this one out of the park with this hire.
This is the only thing they've done right.
What are you talking about? They just won a World Series a couple years
No,
ago.
no. I'm talking about the Marquee Network. I'm not talking about the Cubs. I'm talking about the Marquee Network.
Yeah, I mean, as a separate entity. Yeah, I mean, I don't. They've only done one season, so I mean, what have they done right or wrong? Because if you're going to talk about
Mark Grace,
Mark, what is Mark Grace doing? It's not like, I mean, like he's a part of it, but he's not like the main guy. They could have made him the TV guy easily. They could have given that to him easily, but I mean, like he's just kind of hanging on the fringes. I mean, I'm okay. It's like that uncle. You're like, yeah, I know you screwed up, uncle. I'm gonna keep you in the mix. I'm gonna keep you in the cut when I need you.
You're invited to Thanksgiving, but after that,
just remember,
don't come
what I
around.
mean, right? You know what I mean? Like you only get one slice of pie.
All right, Sciambi, who served for innumerous. Oh, Sciambi. I'm sorry.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm sorry. I was reading two things at one time. Sciambi, who served as various roles for ESPN, including as a radio voice for Sunday Night Baseball since 2010, and a TV play-by-play announcer for Wednesday Night Baseball since 2014. He joins color analyst Jim DeShades, right? DeShades?
Yeah, that's
look at that.
JD. Jim DeShades. You hate
JD.
You hate last name so much.
I do hate last name so much in the TV booth. So it's this is a great hire for the Cubs.
Do me a favor real quick, and what's the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins real quick?
Tua?
Tua Tagovailoa?
That's your job.
Oh, bro. No, I mean, look, Sciambi came out. He seemed like he was thrilled to be a part of the Cubs and the Marquee Network. He said having the opportunity to come to Wrigley Field and call games for the Chicago Cubs every day is surreal. It really doesn't get better than that. Chicago is one of the best cities, and Wrigley is the best ballpark out there. Argue with that. And we're done.
That's right.
So, all right, man, what's going on with the South Side?
The Sox signed Trevor Bauer.
Wait, what?
Oh, no, just kidding.
Oh, man.
That sounded really good, though.
Well, for you it did.
Yeah, no news to report on the South Side, brother.
Nothing at all.
Back to you.
Oh, stop it, bro. Here's the one thing I'll tell you. We know that the Sox really wanted to get a Schwarber, or at least Sox fans did.
Yeah, I did.
So what do you think is the most logical move for the Sox to be able to do?
Well, the Sox need to sign up a closer. Whether they get Hendricks, Colomé, or they get Brad Hand, that's what they got to start. You got to close the end of the bullpen and then work your way backwards. If they're going to get another starter, you might as well empty out the wallet and go get Bauer.
So
if you're going to compete, go get Bauer.
I agree with that. I don't think they're going to pay him that much money. I think he likes to troll the league.
Yeah, he trolls everybody.
Right.
But at this point, how much is he going to get? How many years is he looking for? And then let's say he does sign with the White Sox. Is he a 3? Is he a 4?
I think probably a 2. I think he's probably above Keuchel right now. And I think you give Giolito the number 1 just out of respect for being the guy that's on the team the longest, essentially. And also it gives Giolito the confidence as the youngest guy, really, out of those 3.
Yeah.
It gives him confidence saying, okay, I'm the ace. And you see what he can do when he actually has confidence in himself. You see what he can do.
No, he's a monster when he has that confidence.
You know.
So, I mean, the other problem is we don't have a DH yet.
No.
And you could have got one for $8 million.
Well, here's a name that, we're talking about former Cubs.
Yeah.
Here's the guy that was on the Cubs last year, and it's Jeremy Jeffress, that formerly from the Milwaukee
Brewers?
I almost called them Milwaukee Braves. From the Milwaukee Brewers.
Whoa,
is that a guy you would bring in on the South Side? Because the last time the Cubs or the White Sox brought in an old Cubs reliever, it was Shishak. And look where that guy's at now. Not there anymore.
Not there anymore.
But and another guy they brought in from another team and wasn't a homegrown guy for the Cubs, but he did okay with the Cubs. Now you got Jeffress. What do you think about him?
No, I wouldn't sign him. I would go Michael Brantley because you're not going to get.
Well, I mean, Jeffress is a relief pitcher.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like
you would spend the money on Brantley instead.
Oh yeah,
you don't have to pay Jeffress that much money. It's a couple million a year at most.
You can have him.
The Cubs had him for a 1-year deal only.
You can have him.
I'm fine with it. I'm just saying I'm trying to help y'all out, man.
No,
don't be looking at me like that. I know what we need. Look, here's the problem. I look at the Cubs.
You need 2 arms, 2 legs.
3 starters from last season. Chatwood, Lester, and Quintana are gone. Then you got Darvish. That's another one gone. So right now we're looking at Zach Davies, who they got in their trade for Darvish, Kyle Hendricks, Alec Mills, who had the no-hitter last year, and Adbert Adsley, or whatever, man.
How does that sound?
Hey, I try. You just say, nope, long name,
Long
pass,
name, sorry.
pass.
Too many
Like a
consonants.
Scrabble. Yeah, so I mean, like, our starting rotation is going to be all out of whack. We're not going to be spending a bunch of money on relievers, man. I'm trying to help you out, man. Don't you want these cheeseburgers, man?
No. We're done taking some of those Cubs leftovers. We're good. What's going on in the West Side, brother?
Look, man. Everyone knows we record on Sunday after the Bears games. We watched the Clippers and we watched the Lakers game. Bulls played both them teams over this weekend on their circus trip or West Coast trip or what do you want to call it?
The rodeo trip?
I'm always going to call it the circus trip. I'm always going to call it that because that's what it was. They played tough against the Lakers, man. Zach came out. He did really good in the first quarter. Kobe came out and did really good in the second quarter. They came up short at the end off of a stupid shot that Zach should have drove.
Yeah, definitely should have drove to the hole.
But he does make that shot a lot. He's like, that's 9 out of 10 times he's making that shot.
This is, like we've been saying, this is the baby Bulls 2.0. They're going to have these growing pains. And at the same time, the coach is trying to understand, what do I have?
Yeah.
He has no idea yet what he has. And some of these young players who are getting time because of these veterans, you know, they get injured. They're coming off the court. They're not playing because of COVID. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of young players playing minutes.
And then you got a guy that's named Young, is not so young, Thad Young. That's what did I tell? I says he looks like someone's uncle.
Forever young.
I said he looks like someone's uncle just hangs out at the barbecue and just swears at all the kids. Like, don't worry. Hey, Uncle Thad, why you got to put me on blast like that?
Well, also with that, at the moment, they don't have the chemistry that they need. They're all young guys. They're learning off of Zach. You know, they're trying to get everything going, get that ball flowing. And they don't know, you know, okay, we know the plays, but
they don't have the chemistry they need.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, growing pains, ton of them. You know, there's a lot of players in this team that we're going to look for improvement, but I'll tell you what, LeBron played against Pat Williams, and LeBron gave Pat Williams a big boost of confidence when he says, hey, he reminds me of Kawhi with his hands. He goes, I couldn't dribble the ball much because I knew he was going to get it from me, so I think the Bulls have a star. And what did I tell you? If the Bulls have a star in Pat Beverly, Pat Williams, if Pat Williams comes out and acts like a star and plays like a star, then we have something with the Bulls. I like the way that Kobe White is aggressive in scoring. He's not good in defense. It's the same thing with Zach LaVine. They're basically two of the same players. But I will tell you this. I like Zach driving the ball and being the point guard much better than Kobe because Kobe is still kind of confused, and Zach has the confidence to be the point guard to go ahead and drive the plays.
Yeah, sometimes Kobe looks like Ben Gordon out there. I'm going to dribble for 24 seconds and then, chuck up a shot.
He does have a really quick release, though. Like there's no setting up a shot. He really stops and just throws it in the air, and that's his shot. I'm not a huge fan of it. I like his release, that he gets rid of it so quickly, but I wish he would pull up a little bit better.
Yeah. So while I think the East is super weak, outside of Brooklyn, the Celtics.
Miami's still over there. Miami's a good team.
Miami's a good team. They're not a great team.
Miami went to the finals last year.
You won't see that again.
Charlotte's got good players in that squad, man. You got LaMelo and you got Gordon Hayward. You have players in the East. They're not like the Nets because no one's like the Nets. But I'm saying you got the Pacers still out there.
Milwaukee. The Pacers, come on.
The Pacers are still a player. You don't have to like them or not. They're still the Pacers are a playoff team.
I just hate their color scheme.
What, blue and yellow?
Yes.
What's wrong with blue and yellow? That's a weird reason to not like them. That's like girls liking I really like.
I like the Cubs because they wear blue.
Dude. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, because they have colors, not like the White Sox.
Oh, here we go.
They don't even wear black
Anyways,
socks.
the East is weak in my opinion.
Of course, everyone knows the East is weak, but what I'm saying is that they really don't. They're not good enough to come out of the East. The Nets are winning the East, but that's what I'm saying is that.
Well, that's where
they can win a bunch of these games if they're playing this tough against West Coast opponents, against the guys who. The Clips that were supposed to be in the West Finals that weren't. If they can play tough against these teams, now granted the Lakers didn't have Anthony Davis.
That's the biggest difference there.
But you had a bunch of players missing from the Bulls too. Lowry was out there where, to be honest, I think
we don't know what Lowry is yet.
Way better without Lowry because then you can sit there and you can play Wendell, who I don't really like, but you can play him and you can play Pat Williams at the same time or at least have them kind of play in conjunction with each other and go that way. But I mean, Lowry, to me, right now, it looks like he's clogging up the works.
And let's be honest, they only lost by a couple points. It wasn't like they got blown out by these West Coast teams that are powerhouses.
No, they lost by 3 to the Clips and maybe like 5 to the Lakers. I think that's what it was.
That's because you have a bunch of B+ and B- players on the team. You really don't have any superstars that can take over a game.
No, you have Zach as a 1A or a 1B. He's not a 1A.
Yeah, so we don't have any.
But he has the ability to take over quarters. He doesn't have the ability to take over the fourth quarter, or at least not yet. And remember, Zach is still a pretty young guy. He's like 24, 25 years old. So realistically, he still has he should be going into his prime in the next 2-3 years.
I think the second half is going to say a lot about where these Bulls are going. Right now, they're starting off. They're getting their stuff together. They're starting to get a flow going, and that's what we need.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
what else is going on that west side?
We gotta
on the ice.
to the let's do that hockey thing,
Let's do that hockey.
But hey, as they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
The Blackhawks. In related Blackhawks news, the Crow, number 50, has retired.
Man. Corey, why'd you leave us? Corey, come back.
Corey Crawford would never play for another team other than the Blackhawks after all.
That's right.
The legendary goaltender announced his retirement from the NHL on Saturday, 3 months after signing with the Devils, and one day after the Devils disclosed that he had taken leave because of personal issues.
So what do we think that is? Because we know that he's had concussion issues. We know that he's had drinking issues. So was his personal thing right? And probably a little bit of booger sugar. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just
you hear a lot of stuff we don't know. Nothing's confirmed yet, but the kid got a lot of problems. And you know what? Right now, life is more important than hockey.
First of all, he ain't no kid. He's like 36 years old. He's not a child. Okay, which it's a weird age to be, because as we approach 40, I'm sitting here and we got older folks like, you're just a baby, and then like younger folks like, you're so old, and I'm like, hold up, I can't be both. Okay? I can't be balding and a young man.
Welcome to my life as a teacher.
So Crawford did come out. He released a statement, and he says, I've been fortunate to have a long career playing professional hockey for a living. He says, I wanted to continue my career, but believe I've given all I can to the game of hockey. I decided it is time to retire. I would like to thank the New Jersey Devils organization for understanding and supporting my decision. I would like to thank the Chicago Blackhawks organization for giving me the chance to live my childhood dream. I'm proud to have been part of winning 2 Stanley Cups in Chicago. Thank you to all of my teammates and coaches throughout the years. And also thank you to the fans who make this great game what it is. I'm happy and excited to move on to the next chapter of my life with my family.
He had a great career.
Yeah.
Is he? I think he could be in the Hall of Famer.
It's possible.
Because of the championships. He's got 2
He
championships.
won 2 rings in 10 years.
Right.
He did. He won 2 rings in 10 years. And he also, don't forget, like, once they got rid of Anthony Niemi after the first title, everyone was like, oh my God, how could you do that? Well, he continued in the league and really didn't do much. I want to say he went to like the Sharks, and he did not do a damn thing. So Crow, I mean, I'm glad that Crow essentially finished out his career
as a Blackhawk,
like signed with the Devils, but he never played for another NHL team.
That's right.
Yep.
All right, so question, guys. Do you raise a banner with that number at the United Center? Do we retire that number?
Ooh, that's a rough one.
I think I'd say Taves and Kane definitely. I say maybe someone like maybe Seabrook, maybe
you got Shaw, Seabrook,
Keith. I would say Keith. I would say probably behind Kane and Taves. I would say Keith is probably next.
So that's a no.
Crow, I'm on the edge for that one.
I'll say he did enough.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like the Hall of Fame for football, or first ballot,
Hall of very good.
Ballot,
Yeah, I mean, could he eventually make it after being nominated for a few years? Sure. But I'm not. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, by any means.
All right, just wanted to confirm with you guys. That's all. Hey, true Chicago sports fans, like what you hear? Show us some support with a subscription. All proceeds go towards the betterment of the show. Go to anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans /support. We'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
Are you ready for some football?
I sure was. I don't know if the Bears were.
It's time for some Bears talk. This is 3 and Out.
All right. We this is going to be a hard one to talk about, man. The Bears showed up.
Ready.
Yeah, they showed up to New Orleans, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I think they showed up to Bourbon Street, man.
It sure seemed like it. It seemed like they spent a long night out there in Bourbon Street by themselves with all the social distancing before they went to the stadium.
Yeah, it seemed like the Bears play calling spent the whole night on Bourbon Street drinking grenades. That play calling was so incoherent, man. It was bad. Going into the game, I really thought that it was an easy game plan, brother. I mean, it was like, for me, it was like keep Breeze off the field as long as possible, just like with Aaron Rodgers, with any great quarterback. Keep him as long on the sideline as long as possible. Establish your run game. We've been doing that for the last couple of weeks, where you had Montgomery rushing 70, 80, 90, 100 yards. And it just, I mean, you can't do it with what I think he rushed like 32 yards or something. You just can't. You just can't do that. So,
and even like we were talking about, Breeze, time of possession for the Saints, 38 minutes and 58 seconds for the Bears, 21-2. That ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah, that's not gonna cut it. I mean, Mitch was rolling out, but he had no one to throw through. When you have Mooney out and A-Rob's being double covered, and all you have is Mooney really for your deep threat to stretch the field, you really ain't got nothing. And on defense, no Roquan. I mean, if your leader's not out there, it makes a huge difference. And the turnover battle, I mean.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Eddie Jackson's supposed to be a star in the defense. I saw a lot of missed tackles from him. You saw a lot of missed tackles from him all year.
Yeah.
Roquan turned out to be the heart and soul of the team on defense, at least for this season. I mean, he got snubbed from the All-Star ballot. That was a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, they're not going to play, but still, I mean, he's definitely the best defensive player on the Bears this season by far.
He's going to miss out on some money.
Yeah,
they get a bonus for that, so he's pretty PO'd about that. So I totally understand.
Yeah, I mean, I completely, it baffles my mind how Patterson keeps making it to the Pro Bowl, but Roquan Smith out there killing everyone with two interceptions in the game like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And, he's at home. And now he got the injury. So, I mean, come on.
Definitely not fair. I mean, what did Trubisky do? I mean, did he do Trubisky, enough? Did he do enough?
This is a very early Trubisky stat line, 19 for 29, 199, and then that TD at the end of the game where Jimmy Graham walked off into the sunset trying to find his old locker back at the Saints stadium.
I mean, they should have played like an old Western song because he was like and just jetted off in his horse.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, man. They refused to give the ball to Montgomery. Again, 21 minutes of possession ain't going to cut it. Montgomery with 12 carries for only 31 yards. A-Rob, 6 receptions, 55 yards. 1 for 10 on third down. That is not going to cut it.
You cannot win a game if you don't convert on third down. And then 11 first downs, that's it.
So usually we record on Sundays, right?
Yeah.
Our recording got screwed up. So it's just you and me. Il Brown's not here today.
That's all good.
But I've had time to sit here and stew in the stink of the Bears.
Oh man, a good thing I'm sitting down on.
So a couple things.
Yeah.
Ian Rappaport came out and says that before the game, the Bears would need a very late and very hard playoff push for them to really think about keeping Trubisky. Right on the flip side of that, Jason Lockenford came out and says the Bears are very likely to sign Trubisky for a short-term deal. Which one do I believe? I don't know.
That's like the weatherman. It's like the weatherman. There's a chance of rain.
So there's always a chance of rain. But again, I think one of these voices is typically a little bit more reputable than the other.
Right.
I'll take Ian Rappaport's report a little bit stronger. But now,
once Schefter says it, then it's gospel.
Shefty is the king. That we all know that.
Yeah.
With the seven phones, But here's the thing I'll say about Mitch. Again, I'll harp on the fact that they took him out way too early. They gave him 10 quarters of football and yanked him, and that's where their slide began. With Mitch at the helm, the Bears averaged almost twice as many points and averaged about 311 yards a game. I cannot stress it enough how much the Bears fumbled the handling of Mitch Trubisky in his last season under contract. He has every right to move on to another team with a stable coaching staff. Do I think it could be salvaged? Maybe on the short deal, sure. But I want to see what they can do with the laser show all season, not just a little bit of games that we saw.
I got one for you. One word. You are correct.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm sitting here, like I said, I'm sitting in the stew of Bears stink, and I just feel it all rising up in me. So I'm gonna go off on you a little bit here because it's got to be said.
All right.
Now you cannot bring back both Mitch and Nagy. You can't do both because Nagy has showed you time and time again that he does not trust Trubisky, and that decision alone in the third game of the season is what sunk him down and sunk the ship for the season. Okay.
Yeah.
You might be able to bring back one or the other, but you cannot bring back both. Point blank, that's just what it is. You have a big problem with culture on this team. Trubisky himself mentioned culture in his post-game press conference. He says there's something going on. The culture needs to change. You could feel it all around. Now, I never thought that I would be saying this about a Matt Nagy-led team, especially what they did after the first season, but it's ridiculous. He was the coach of the year 2 years ago, and now he's 8-8 2 years in a row. 8-8 last year to a bunch of by beating a bunch of scrub quarterbacks, and this year just squeaking by, beating up on a weak Deshaun Watson team, Texans team after they fired their head coach. The Lions, the Vikings, the teams that you beat were terrible. Okay, you have a problem with undisciplined players in the wide receiver room. Yep. Both Miller and Wims got ejected from the 2 games the Bears played against the Saints this year, both dealing with the same guy who you know is just an agitator. And you have the defense who looks good at times and lost at other times. And part of that comes from the fact that they have no idea what's going on with the offense. And if you don't know what's going on with the offense, why should I put out my best effort on defense? Right, Point blank. Why should I do it?
So there's a couple things there that I want to touch on. One, you're talking about Nagy, right? Mm-hmm. This guy should be called the Matrix because all he does is dodge bullets. When he's up there at the press conference, he's over there bending over backwards, dodging all these bullets. And you know what? As a coach, you're there to protect your players. If you're throwing Mitch under the bus, if you're throwing E-Roc under the bus, if Wims is over here fighting and you don't cut that man,
and who dropped that touchdown? Who dropped that touchdown?
Wims.
Right. If you would have cut him in the Saints game. And it's the same guy. I'm not even going to say his name. He doesn't deserve my attention to say his name.
No, he doesn't.
But it's the same guy that the way it started is he went out and grabbed Miller's mouthpiece set.
Yes.
And then here comes Wims to defend him, smacked him in the face, right? Mm-hmm. Now you turn around, the next time they play the Saints, now Miller's out there. What are you doing? It's over. It's been over. And it's over for so long.
And that just shows immaturity. On the player side, it shows immaturity, and it shows lack of leadership on the coaching side.
And the other thing too is you got to remember that Mac is the best, quote unquote, the best player on defense, but he's not a vocal guy.
No.
And now you also didn't, you know what I mean? Look,
we're used to the Bears that we had before with Urlacher and Briggs and Olin Kreutz and all these guys that were very vocal leaders and said, you know what, if you get out of line, it doesn't even get to Lovey's office.
No,
they took care of it.
No. And we don't have that right now.
Right. They
don't have it right now because here's the problem. The quarterback, it's not even that. The quarterback has no confidence in himself because his coach sapped all the confidence out of him. Yeah. So even when he played a little bit good, he gets that little boost of energy and Nagy sits there and still rags on him. So we know that Mitch is not some all-star like great quarterback, but he's a serviceable quarterback. In my opinion, he's going to be in the league a long time. You're going to see him for the next 10 years. He's going to be around in some capacity. Mm-hmm. Okay. But his coach sucked out all of his confidence. And when your quarterback is not confident, your quarterback can't be a leader of men in the locker room. Nope. And that's who's supposed to be the leader of men in the locker room. Okay. You have usually a defensive leader and an offensive leader. Right. Well, no one can look up to this guy. A-Rob's probably sitting in the corner like, I don't even know who my damn quarterback is.
No.
You know,
the offense that we
the coach can't figure out who they want to call the plays. I mean, come on.
And what they practice on the practice field is not what they institute into the games.
And that was the whole thing with Nagy. Once you saw the Laser Show coming, Bill Lazor, once you saw him calling plays, it looked like, oh, you're actually calling the plays that they practice all week. It's a big difference. But this defense is just you want so much more out of them. Okay, now granted, this is the NFL. You have to give credit to the players on the opposing offense, especially when you're playing against Hall of Fame quarterbacks like Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers. But here's the thing. With the talent that's supposed to be here, it looks like they give away too often. Quinn signing was a huge mistake. They could have used that money elsewhere. The line, the offensive line seemed to figure it out at the end of the season. So what does Nagy do? Run the ball 12 times. That's not what we've seen from the Laser show.
No.
With what Bill Lazor was doing.
This was a combination of them.
This was Nagy putting his foot right back in there.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm
going to prove everybody wrong. I'm going to win this playoff game.
Here's the problem. You start dating a girl. Everything's going good, right? Everything's going good. Man, it's on the right track. You say something to piss her off. All right, your buddy goes to console her. All of a sudden, he's your buddy's girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or she's with him. You can't be sniffing around anymore, bro. It's over. It's Laser's girl now. Stop getting in there, Nagy. You lost her. She don't like you no more, bro.
Go play some R&B, man, and cry it out.
Right. Play some Boys of Men and bend your own knee and go in the corner, man. But here's what I want to do real quick is take a real good look at this season. Okay. You started 5-1. Okay, with a questionable win against the Lions. Okay, that should have been a loss, but you won. You managed to make it all the way to 5-1. And you're 5-1. You beat Tom Brady and the Bucs. Okay.
I mean, you had to beat them. I mean, they were decimated, but you got to play who's in front of you, and you got to beat them. Right. It don't matter. And then you got to beat them.
They start 5-1. And then they go on to lose the next 6 games.
Yep.
Okay? Now they're 5-7. You went from 5-1 to 5-7 in the blink of an eye. Okay? You come around, you finally get out of that because you play the Texans. You beat the Texans, you beat the Vikings, and you beat the Jaguars. And then for the last game of the season, with all the chips on the table, with your chance to go to the playoffs, you play the Packers and you get your butt stomped. Sneak into the playoffs because the Cardinals lost, right?
Right.
8-8 team. First ever seventh seed in the wild card era, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You sneak in the playoffs. You get to play the Saints again. And they pound you again. Mm-hmm. Embarrassingly. It wasn't. And the Saints only scored 21 points. You're going to tell me that they could. only in 8 games this season were the Bears able to score over 21 points. And 3 of those games were still losses. Okay.
It's sad. So you were talking about a couple of things a little earlier where you're saying, you can't keep one or the other, this and that. So I wanted to play a little game with you. You know that little game, that kids play, say, kill one, marry one, kiss one? Uh-huh. So let's change it up a little bit. Let's adapt it to football. One's got to be franchise tagged. One's got to be fired. One's got to be traded. You have the whole roster to choose from. I'll let you do that.
Okay.
Who's going to franchise?
If I'm going to tag anyone, it's got to be Robinson.
Okay.
You got to franchise Allen Robinson.
Yep, I agree with you there.
Who am I going to trade? Who am I going to fire?
Who are you going to fire? Only one guy can you fire. This organization. So from Pace down.
From Pace? Oh, well, I only get to go up to Pace?
Only go up to Pace.
Oh, man, because
they're not firing Ted Phillips.
Sweaty Teddy's going on my list. That's not my number one target. If I'm firing one guy, it's probably Nagy. And the reason why is because in 3 seasons as a head coach here, the first season, coach of the year, looked great, nice and smooth. Still showed that you didn't have that much confidence in the quarterback that you came over here to coach as a quarterback whisperer. You're so great at that, right?
Yeah.
Second season, have to switch up all these coordinators and my defense because you lost Fangio to Denver, right?
Yep. Big fan.
So now you got to bring in Pagano. Third season. Okay, well, we had to lose Harry Heaston. We had to lose this guy. We had to lose that guy. So in 3 seasons, why are you changing up all your coordinators and coaches already? Just because you remain at the helm as a head coach does not mean that you brought stability to the coaching of this Chicago Bears football team.
Right.
It's
he oversees everything. He's not one-on-one with nobody's playing.
And the other thing that, like I said, really frustrates me is that finally they give the play calling over to Bill Lazor. He comes in there. He seems to be firing on all cylinders. You're actually calling the plays that they practiced all week, and you could see Nagy start dipping his toe back in that water.
Right.
Start flirting with that girl again. She don't like you, bro. Go away.
Yeah, stop stalking her, bro.
I'm gonna tell you what. One of the main things that we heard out of Nagy, his catchphrase, well, I'm not stupid. I know we need to run the ball. Well, guess what? Montgomery only had 3 100-yard games all season. And one was in that loss to Green Bay. And then in this one and only playoff game they got to play this season, Montgomery ran the ball for 12 times for 31 yards. What happened? I'm not stupid. What happened to that?
Right. You got to scheme the running game. As simple as that. That's what I said earlier. That running game establishes Breeze on the sideline, and it opens up your passing game.
Yes.
So it's simple as that. I mean, you
especially without Mooney, you really needed to establish that run.
And then you have a quarterback who can run.
Yes.
Let him run the RPO, which means give him the ball so he can run around.
They put that ball and chain shackles on his ankles and says, you ain't going nowhere. That's the other thing about Nagy. And that's another reason why I'm firing him. All right. Now, if I'm going to trade anybody.
Yeah, who are you trading?
I'm trying to trade Miller. Wims, I'm just releasing. I'm gonna try to trade Miller if I can.
Wims is gone.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm ready for him to move on from the Miller experiment. You know what I mean? Like that. He holds every record for Memphis college football. You know, he looked really good when he was in here with his first season, when you had guys like Taylor Gabriel and Tariq Cohen going off. But ever since then, I mean, you know, once they figured out these gadgets, you know, it's over, man. It's over.
So who are you trading them?
Miller.
Oh, that's it?
Said that.
Miller?
Yeah. You said one.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the reason I say Miller is because I don't want to release him. I think I can still find value in him. I can at least get a 4th or 5th round pick for him. At least I can get a pick.
Hey man, they traded the best wide receiver in the league for a 2nd round pick, so anything's possible.
Who?
From the Texans to.
You talking about D-Hop?
Mm-hmm.
No, they got David Johnson back, who was their starting running back.
Who's always hurt?
Well, he's hurt now, but I mean, he was their starting running back. Like
he's been hurt for the last 3 years.
I understand that, but he was still an NFL player. It wasn't just a pick. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right.
But so here's the thing that really drove me nuts, and I think we all kind of saw it coming, that when the Bears actually had to play real good teams, like actual teams.
Oh yeah,
that's when they failed. Their losing streak started when they played the Rams, got their butt beat. Yep. When they played the Saints, got their butt beat. When they played the Titans, we sat here, we watched that game here.
We had to make some coffee for that one.
We had to force ourselves to watch the whole damn game because, you know, I'm falling asleep the whole time. Yeah. So now they're on this losing streak. Now, you know, we're riding through with these losses to the Rams and the Saints and the Titans, and they still couldn't pull up that nosedive when they finally got a little bit of reprieve from playing a tough schedule, playing against playoff teams. You got the Vikings, and you lose to them. You lose to the Lions somehow. And, of course, you lose to Green Bay because Green Bay owns us. That's just what it is. You have to accept that as a Bears fan right now. As long as Aaron Rodgers is in the league, as long as Aaron Rodgers playing for the Packers, Packers own the Bears, period.
Yeah, he's like the LeBron right now. No one's going to get past him in the North.
No.
So, you know, it is what it is. So, I mean, for me, I agree with the first two, with your franchise and your fire. But trade right now, you trade Mac. Try to get something back.
You're not the amount that you're gonna get. You're gonna get so ripped off on that.
Yeah, you're not gonna get what you gave up.
No, and you have to remember, if you trade Mac, you're basically giving up 2 first-round picks. That that's a complete wash. You got to let Mac play here, at least have some type of semblance. That you cannot trade Mac.
I don't see anybody else with any trade value to get some good pieces.
You're not getting good pieces. That's not how the NFL works. One person's getting screwed. So that's what I'm saying. If I trade Miller, I know I can at least get a pick. Whatever that pick turns into is what it turns into. Mac, you're not going to get nothing anymore. You might get a 2nd-round pick at this point, just because he's older now than he was when he came to the Bears. Uh-huh. He's not as desirable, after what he's been through playing for the Bears. And you see when they double and triple team him, you have no one else to complement him on the other side.
Well, so his play now this year is really not his fault. Yeah, his play is really not his fault. He's got nobody helping.
Well, and that's the difference between what they had in the first year in 2018 and what they have now is a big difference.
When they had I think they had 50 or 60 interceptions the first year,
and then people forget how big of a part that played in that 12-4 season. People forget about that.
All the takeaways. Then they went to 31, and I think they had 35 this year. 35. So
look, I mean, defense was decent. They held their opponents to enough points that you could have overcome that if your offense would have figured it out.
Agreed.
Now, the funny thing to me is that ironically, their little win streak, the 3-game win streak, started against the Deshaun Watson's Texans. That's hilarious to me. After all this smack, and now there's all this stuff like Bears need to go get him because he kind of says, well, I'm kind of unhappy because when the Texans hired their new GM, they didn't consult him first. What I found out today is that he's really upset that they didn't go talk to Louis Riddick, who he asked them to talk to. They have no obligation to talk to the quarterback to say, hey,
no, they don't.
This is who we think we're going to get or who we would like to talk to. But out of respect for the player, you at least honor his wishes, at least play your part. play the game.
They could have went through the motions and said, yeah, we called him and he wasn't interested, which he probably would have refuted. But he could have got an interview as well. I mean, I don't know what that situation is there, because
Lou Riddick has been asking for an interview for years. He's openly said, I want to be a GM in the NFL. He said it on ESPN. He said it on our local ESPN radio. He has said it open and
he's gotten some interviews so far, didn't he? I think he got an interview in Detroit.
I think that's lined up. I don't think it's happened yet, but you're finally seeing him kind of getting his chance here. So, but the thing is that as you go through, the Bears had no chance when they had to play against playoff teams. The only playoff team the Bears beat this season was somehow TB and his first year in TB. Yeah. How did they do that? I don't know.
Yeah. So speaking of quarterbacks, who is your 2021 starting quarterback? We got some free agents out there. We got Dak. We got Rivers, Old Man River. I think Rivers is retiring. I think Rivers is done. Yeah. Rivers either comes back to Indy or he's done. Agreed.
And I think Dak is staying with Dallas. I mean, if we're realistic, I'd like to have Dak here. I'm not stupid, because he'd be better than what we have currently.
Right.
He'd probably be the best player that's open on the open market that we would be able to get.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any chance that he's leaving. I don't think there's a chance that Jerry Jones lets him leave Dallas.
No, not at all. Cam is a free agent, which I don't want anymore.
Hard pass.
Yep. And then here's an option. Can you trade for Stafford? Because his contract isn't up for another 2 years.
I've heard us and other people talk about having Stafford in here for some amount of time to finish out his career. Because I mean, what is he, about 33?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I if you can get Stafford, I don't see the Lions trading him within the division.
Yep, that's what I think too.
I think on this team, so you got Stafford, and you know who else is a free agent is Galladay, and these are UFAs.
And you bring
not Stafford, but Galladay.
Galladay's a UFA, right?
Galladay's out there. You know what I mean?
So if you sign Galladay and be like, hey, can we get your quarterback?
Right, yeah. Hey, look, here's the thing, though. You got to remember, the rest of the team wasn't very good, but Stafford's best receiver ever is one of the best of all time in Megatron. And they never won anything there either.
Yeah.
He beat the Bears a lot. He beat the Bears on a one-on-one, but the Lions did not beat the Bears a lot.
No.
So, I mean, I like to have Stafford. He's got the arm, but I don't know, man. He's a little long in the tooth, and he does have back issues.
Yeah, he did have back surgery. So, all right. Anything else you want to do to put a bow on this ugly season?
I want to mention one of my favorite players of this team all year who didn't get enough shine is Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet, when he actually finally came on, you saw what he could do. He had that he's full of piss and vinegar. You saw when he got that unfair, unsportsmanlike contact penalty at the end of the game. He was tossing the ball over to the ref, and they thought they were tossing it at a player. And even one of the defenders for the Saints came up and says, hey, we got away with one there. He even said it. He admitted it to Cole Kmet. The ref came over and says, hey, I thought you were throwing that to that player. And Cole Kmet's in there like, what the hell? But let me tell you what I think is going to happen with this kid. He's going to be this generation's Greg Olsen.
That's exactly where I was going. I was waiting for you to finish.
He's going to be productive, but I think the best days of his career is going to be on another team, mainly because by the time the Bears team maybe gets their crap together, he's going to be gone free agency.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Now, we're talking about maybe trading back. Here, realistically, what you should do is you might as well trade whoever you have and get some picks and just start over at this point, because even as the very first number 7 playoff team in the NFC, this season was a disaster from a personnel standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, and from a management standpoint. It was even at 8-8. Again, it feels like what? It feels like a 4-win season.
Yeah, it does.
We were on a high real quick, and then
yeah. The ownership and the management was literally with a fishing pole with the dollar at the end.
Yeah,
you almost got it.
Yeah,
almost got it.
That's there's a couple of losses there, specifically that Lions loss that really frustrates me, because they should have won that game. They should have won this game against the Saints.
Oh yeah,
the defense held them down. They should have won, man. That drop. How do you let the ball hit you in the chest? How do you let the ball hit you in the chest? The same dude that kicked out last time you played the Saints, and then you're gonna walk up. Let me tell you something. If they let him back on the team playing, I'm done, man. Leave his ass out there. I'm done with him.
No. All right. Well, that puts a wrap on that season. Dude, let's get that taste out of our mouth, man. All right,
I need some tequila now.
Yeah, you should get some tequila. All right, true Chicago sports fans, it's time to pay some bills. We'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor.
Is the first anime manga company to feature characters of color, bringing a level of flair and authenticity to the genre as a whole. With influences ranging from Japanese manga and animation, Western comics, streetwear, hip-hop, and various forms of cinema, Noir has created a unique style that can be appreciated by the masses. Check out noircaesar.com for more information.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
It's that time again, brother.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. It's time for Stirring the Pot, brother.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, you know what? We're going to flip the script this time, brother. I got stuff for you now.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Hold on to your seat, brother.
Hold on to your panties, folks. Here we go.
Oh, hopefully they're not in a bunch. All right, man. So I'm going to throw it way back to when you were a shorty.
Way back into time.
Yeah. I'm going to throw it way back to when you were a shorty. You're in the house. It's Saturday morning. You wake up at 7 a.m. and you got to make yourself breakfast. And you go to the fridge. And you're like, all right, cool. All right, there's some of this, there's some of that. I don't want to, it's too young to cook. So you're like, all right. And you see a box of cereal, right? And you get your favorite cereal, whatever sugary cereal it is, whether it's Frosted Flakes, Lucky Charms, Cocoa Puffs, whatever it is.
Apple Jacks.
Yeah, Apple Jacks. There you go.
Apple Jacks and Golden Grams are my my jam.
All right. You get the biggest bowl you got in the house. You got.
Don't tell me there's no milk, bro.
No. There's milk. There's milk. You got a box. You got your brand new box of your cereal, your Apple Jacks. And
this is a hell of a build-up. I don't think I've ever done this much build-up. Now I'm nervous.
It's my first time, man. It's my first time.
Your first time always got a lot of build-up.
That's right. Hopefully it's a good release. All right.
All
right.
No.
So you pull out the milk out of the fridge. Which one do you pour first?
Oh, cereal, man. Oh, hell, cereal all day. That is so silly. I've seen this. I've seen this recently.
Yeah.
Where people will pour the milk and then the cereal. I'm like, wait, what? No, man. You put the cereal in there. Now it works for me because I got rather large hands.
Yeah, you do.
Especially as an adult. Fill the bowl with cereal. I put my hand over the bowl and leave enough space between my fingers to fit the milk so none of the cereal pops out as it fills with milk, bro. I got a whole strategy for this, man.
You got a system. All right. So I've done both, and I've figured out a system for the milk.
Okay.
So I pour the milk first.
What?
Yeah. And I take the bowl and the box with me all the way to the living room. And guess what? I ain't spilling the milk, and I got enough.
You ain't spilling this.
I don't got to get up to refill my bowl.
The only spilling you're doing is that cereal because you're finishing a box in one sitting. That's
exactly what I'm doing.
All right, man. So, like I said, when I was a kid, my favorites were Apple Jacks and Golden Grams. What were yours?
I was a big Frosted Flakes guy. And then my second one, it's got to be Apple Jacks. It's got to be
Apple Jacks, man. Yeah. And we had the whole debate about apples, and that's Yeah, you need the cinnamon to make the apples taste good, bro.
And my third is Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
My third is something that's super slept on, and it's Peanut Butter Crunch, bro.
Peanut Butter Crunch. Is that
that's Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch,
bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was good. It's good.
Oh my God. Well, I'm a peanut butter guy, so that's my jam right there. And my grandmother would always have it for me too. Awesome. And that in the Apple Jack. But yeah, man, that's legit. But
there you go. So how did I do for my first one?
Well, the first thing I'll tell you is only crazy people put that
only psychopaths.
I'm trying to put as much cereal in that bowl, bro. And I'm trying to eat tomorrow, so I'm not trying to finish the whole box. That's not keto friendly, bro.
Oh, can't do that no more. All right, brother, let's get out of here.
All right. Listen, y'all. Thank you for listening. That's it for today. If you like what you hear, remember to give us a review and 5 stars on your listening app of choice. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Right. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our fans who keep joining us week in and week out during the Bears season for our live post games.
Absolutely.
You guys were so interactive. You made us laugh. You gave us great questions. You made great points. We didn't always agree with you guys, but that's the whole point of it. We got to go back and forth. You know, we're Bears fans, and we're going to have difference of opinions. You guys are the real MVPs of the Bears season.
Absolutely.
Also, big thanks to Joe Villanueva and Thor, my NEIU guys, who keep always texting me, always messaging me with all the football stuff, especially because these guys, you know, was an athletic director, and the other one played semi-pro. So thank you guys. Yeah, Thor always plays some semi-pro, and again, it's been a fun season. I've learned some new stuff about football, and then it's been a pleasure, you know, learning from E and Will.
And that's who I really want to give a big shout out to is Will. Will, for those that don't know, those that didn't catch him in the beginning, Will was actually on went to camp with the Bears many moons ago, so he still got his official team Nikes and other stuff he's showing off and all that stuff. But for the reason I brought Will in the first place, he was always on Facebook Live talking about the games after for the post game. I said, you know what, this is the dude. Let's bring it. So thank you so much to Will. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us today, but thank you for coming out and talking to us about the Bears all season. And one more shout I want to give is to my boy Steve Martin, who I just finished arguing for 20 minutes about the Bears, about what Pace has done in his career, the good versus the bad. So shout out to Steve as well for getting me all riled up and getting me nice and foamy to get into this Bears talk here. We do want to thank our sponsors, Noor Caesar, Villain Radio Studios, and Grit Clothing Company. Do not forget, check out gritclothingco.com. Use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. Also, shout out to our brand new media company, 606 Media.
Yes, sir.
We are going to be bringing you so much new stuff in this next upcoming year, 2021. Hopefully, it's going to be big for us. So look out for what we got going on. Shout out to Ro Nash, who makes our beat, and shout out to our super producer, Jay Soto.
Super duper.
Super duper. You want to start a podcast or have your show sound as clean as ours? You can find everything you need at jsotomedia.com. Check us out on social media. You can find us at True Shine Fans on Twitter and on TikTok. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and don't forget to reach out to us on our email. We want to hear from you guys. Reach us at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out the All Net Podcast with Mike Logic and Ideal. Brand new episodes every other Monday, coinciding with the NBA season. Go Bulls. All right, y'all. For Big Z, this is E-Roc. We'll see you next week for episode 28. Wow.
Yeah.
Until then, be good to each other.
For the love of sports.
Yeah.
You've got big hair.
Bears down. All the way down, baby.
Let's go get some cereal.
A few moments later.
You have a lot of incest.
That's real.
Shut your mouth.
Lover boy.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
I think he's on steroids.
Hasta luego, amigos.
Show's over, show's over, show's over.